Okay. Welcome back, gang. Sorry that I'm a bit late. Yeah, I know I'm half an hour late. I know I'm half an hour late, but don't worry. I just had to deal with some things, but here I am. Here I am. Do not despair. Here we are to continue with day number 4 of metaphysical analysis of Drakensang online. Okay. And last time, in the third part of the analysis, we had our second boss fight. And that brought some elements to my attention that I wanted to highlight and analyze today. Namely, the relationship between the usage of potions and the gameplay mechanics. A topic that I generally analyze a bit more um, during the mid-game stages of the game. We are still in early game gameplay mechanics stage, basically. But by the end of the previous stream, we fought the second boss of the game, which was Callus. You have the whole boss fight in the previous section, but basically the idea is that alright, we are finally done with the second area of the game, I presume. Let's see if I have any other. If I have any other. Bring Leonard's wedding ring to Corbin. Yeah, I had to turn in some side quests, but no worries. Let's continue with the main quest. Then we need to farm a bit because I wasn't underleveled, but I was kind of like at the same level of as the boss. Precisely, the boss. By the end of the previous stream, we fought Callus, and it was our second boss fight. The first boss fight was pretty much like Leoric in Diablo 3, or 1, for that matter. And basically, it was, I thought, pretty much a standard boss fight. The first boss fight of Drakensang Online. But by the end of the previous stream, we fought Callus, and that boss fight had a lot of interesting gameplay mechanics. Hello, Flying Energies. How's it going? Flying Energies. We start another day of Drakensang Online. Last time I fought Callus, and I was precisely about to comment the amazing relationship between the usage of potions and the gameplay mechanics. By the way, Fly Energies, I promise you that if I ever have any audience ever, the first person I am going to raid is precisely you, of course, without a doubt. If that ever happens, I cannot promise that will happen, but if that happens, the first person would be you because of how kind both you and District have been with me, without a doubt. I wanted to tell you that. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Yeah, don't think if I will ever have one, but if I do, the first person will be you. In that sense, without a doubt. So, the first thing I would like to do if I have an audience. That's for starters. I was commenting precisely that I wanted to analyze. I believe in you. You will have it one day. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the thing is that the topics I talk about are generally way too much. They are generally way too much for younger people. Generally, my audience is much older than me, and they watch over at YouTube because of that. Generally, believe it or not, I'm only 29, but generally most of my audience is between 35, 40, and even 50. So yes, generally younger people, who is more the audience of Twitch, don't care about the topics. When I start talking about metaphysics and all of those things, I know it's just way too much, so I also don't blame them. But it's what I love talking about, so yeah, pretty much. When I start talking about the mechanics and everything, it's just way too much. two of my first viewers were precisely game developers before any players, so yeah, I saw that this is pretty much going to be the constant. So yeah, speaking of that, by the end of the previous stream, I fought Callus, the second boss of the game, and I wanted to highlight this topic that generally I talk about it when I analyze Sacred 2. It was a topic that I had to talk about more in the mid-game stages of the gameplay mechanics of the game. But in the case of this game, I will do it now. Why? Because alright, we have to get into this dungeon, Prison of Souls. But I did beat Callus, I think. I did beat her. I mean, no, I think no doubts about it. I did beat her. What's the meaning? Maybe the exit is through here. I just have to report back. Ah, yeah, it's inside of the tomb. I didn't report back inside of the tomb. I just beat the boss fight, and I was so exhausted that I logged out. Okay. We have to talk to the ghost. Precisely, as we approach there. So, I did this dungeon, I got to fight Callus, and I wanted to highlight this topic. The red orbs that the boss fight dropped to provide the healing for the boss fight. Okay. I always cite this example, for anyone watching this over at YouTube, I always cite this example as the prime example of how not to do things. Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. I don't know if you played that RPG. It was originally meant to be an MMORPG. And the usage of potions, the relationship between the usage of potions and the gameplay mechanics in that game is the worst I've seen. It's a good game. I don't know if the Re-Reckoning edition, the remastered one fixed it, actually fixed it. But how does it work? You can spam potions endlessly in that game. You can finish the whole game without understanding the skill tree, by just spamming potions endlessly, because the relationship between the usage of potions and the gameplay mechanics is broken. See how delicate this matter is, sadly, in that sense. So you can just spam potions, and even if you don't know your skill tree, that it has one, you can finish the game, breaking the difficulty of it. So, the prime example of how not to do things. Looking into more normal cases, more standard cases, what's the case with Diablo, the father of all isometric action RPG games? Diablo 2, not the abomination of Diablo 3. Well, abomination. It shifted the paradigm. Not my taste, but what's the case with Diablo 2? With Diablo 2, you can endlessly spam potions as well, but you have only 4 slots, and really, the idea is that the difficulty is provided by the fact that you have to replenish those four slots. You will have to eventually replenish them, because the speed of the combat forces you to use those 4 slots in that sense, rather than use them from your inventory. The time it takes to activate a potion from your inventory in Diablo 2 will probably kill you. So there, the speed of the combat is properly balancing the difficulty. Hello, Phantom DSO, how is it going? Phantom DSO is riding with a party of 4. Oh, I didn't know you also streamed, Phantom. I'm going to follow you, just like I did with Flying Energies. I didn't know that. Ah, you could have told me. You are always my audience is. You are always so polite and kind. You didn't even tell me. No. Then when I finish the stream, I'll follow you back. No, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and thank you for visiting again. Today, I was talking about the relationship between the usage of potions and the gameplay mechanics. Precisely, by the end of the previous stream, haha, no worries, good to see you back. No, I don't have a lot of time to watch. I also told Flying Energies, otherwise I would watch both you and Flying Energies. But yeah, because of my jobs as English teacher and software developer, I didn't like it as a lawyer, no? Fortunately, because otherwise I would have even less time. But but yeah, because of my two jobs, I cannot. I earn good money, but I don't have time. Then I only have these beautiful 4 hours that I use to spend it with yeah, and then some Star Wars: The Republic on weekend during the weekends. Precisely. Today I have been talking. I started talking about the relationship between the usage of potions and the gameplay mechanics since last time I fought Callus, the second boss of the game. Okay, so I fought Callus. You accomplished it. I was so exhausted that I didn't even finish the conversation here with the NPCs. So you accomplished it. Callus' spells faded away, but the cruel visions of dragons at the burning coast still haunt me. I need to know if they are real. Ruthina Flint will accompany me. Return the staff first and follow me then. Okay, there we go, people. And as I was mentioning, talk to Fighter Ransom in Wearing Sanctuary. Alright, I have to go back there. The fast travel was pretty much through here. The relationship between the usage of potions and the usage of potions and the gameplay mechanics. In that Callus boss fight, there were some red orbs spread across the room, and while it may sound like a very subtle element in terms of the development philosophy of the level design of the boss fight, it is quite important. I was establishing some comparisons just in case. Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning allows you to, is the worst example, poor game that I always cite as the worst example of the usage of potions. You can endlessly spam potions and pretty much finish the game without understanding the gameplay mechanics of it, without understanding the skill tree. In the case of Diablo 2, getting into the isometric action RPG genre, potions don't have a cooldown, but they have 4 limited slots. And I was commenting that the speed of the combat at the end of the day prevents you from endlessly spamming potions in Diablo 2 because you have the 4 quick slots. But then those are depleted, and honestly, the speed of the combat would get you killed. Hey, what's this? What's it over here? The quest? Well, first let me smash these enemies and progress through the dungeon normally, as I explained. The speed of the combat in Diablo 2, the father of all isometric action RPGs, let's use that one. It's kind of like a mandatory example that we need to cite. Complements the speed of the combat, complements those limited 4 slots. Imagine if in Diablo 2 you could have endless slots, like you do in Diablo 3 precisely, and you could just spam potions easily. Well, the gameplay would be much easier in that sense. The fact that it's limited to 4 slots provides an organic way of designing the relationship between the usage of potions and the gameplay mechanics. It's a very interesting topic, people, if you think about it. Pretty interesting, in fact. Let's cite a third example for this first talking point of today. The case of cooldowns. And for that I will cite a game that I highly recommend you all play, which is Hellgate London, that we analyzed on stream a year ago. 2 years ago, I think I did it. Hellgate London puts a cooldown on the potions. A cooldown on the potions? Yes, quite interesting. You have a cooldown on the potions. When you activate a potion, you have an 8-9 seconds cooldown in which you cannot consume potions. I thought it was a quite elegant solution. It's quite elegant solution. And in that period of time, you can be surrounded and killed. What we talked about in the previous part of the stream, of the relationship of the level design, the influence of the level design on the gameplay mechanics, the fact that the source of the difficulty of the game derives from the fact that you fight enemies in narrow corridors in which you are eventually surrounded and killed because of how the physics system of the game works. For example, I cited that in World of Warcraft you can get through enemies, but for example, see here I cannot get through these enemies. The weight of the physics organically contributes to the gameplay mechanics. Well, we covered that in the previous stream. So, that affects this relationship between the usage of potions and the gameplay mechanics. Why? Because if you can imagine you can endlessly spam potions, and also that the corridors of the game in which you fight aren't like this, that they are not narrow, that it's an open world, it's just an open world in which you can endlessly avoid enemy attacks. AoE, area of effect, for those of you watching over at YouTube, area of effect attacks or single target attacks, doesn't matter. Imagine that you have endless room to maneuver, cast your spells, and escape. Well, the difficulty of the game then is affected, because the game is much easier when it should, and it also blocks a natural way of adding difficulty, because let's think about the case of World of Warcraft. You can add difficulty by just increasing, it's generally this the case, and with MMORPGs the same. You just increase the damage that the mobs deal. The most common way, most artificial and brute way of increasing difficulty. But this elegant way that the isometric action RPG genre has can also be ruined if you can endlessly spam potions. You can have the narrow corridors that we talked about last Tuesday. You can be surrounded by enemies and killed with an organic, natural source of the difficulty instead of just increasing the DPS of the mobs. But then, if you can endlessly spam potions, you are destroying that source of difficulty. So, Hellgate London, my third example. Today I cited, for those of you who join right now, I cited Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, then the father of all RPGs, Diablo 2. In Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, you can endlessly spam potions. In Diablo 2, you have 4 slots. You are limited by the amount you can activate in a brief period of time. It's limited by time. See how interesting the solution that they came up with was. And then, of course, Hellgate London, which has a cooldown. It put a cooldown on the potion. I'm showing you, I'm laying out all of the differences. Pretty much, I do this with every analysis that you can do with RPGs to solve the problem of the player being way too OP because he can spam potions endlessly. But there's another way. There's a fourth way, a fourth talking point that I wanted to highlight. Silence, the status of silence, which is the complementary solution of World of Warcraft and MMORPGs. Otherwise, it would be a terrible solution. In World of Warcraft, in World of Warcraft, it has cooldowns, if I remember correctly. The potions, the usage of potions, has a cooldown. And now I'll get into the case of the boss fight that I did against Callis last time, and the solution that they came up with. The status of silence. World of Warcraft does have cooldowns like Hellgate London, or the other way around, Hellgate London copies it from World of Warcraft. And on top of that, it adds the status of silence. A lot of mobs, the most dangerous mobs, but they don't need to be champion difficulty for a raid or something like that. It doesn't need to be group content. They silence the player. Same with Hellgate London. Same with Hellgate London. That's why I love the solution of Hellgate London. A cooldown on the potion. Imagine that I quaff a potion, that I activate a potion, and I have a 6 seconds cooldown first. And then on top of that, some mobs silence you. In World of Warcraft, silence blocks the usage of abilities. But in Hellgate London, I forgot to talk to the NPC, right? In Hellgate London, silence also blocks the usage of potions. Highly recommend London 2038, the mob that... Hey, was it over here? In Warian Sanctuary? But... could it be that the quest guidance is broken for this one? Could it be that it's broken? Ah, fuck it, it's broken. Damn it. I think it's broken. Well, when he said Warian Sanctuary, I thought, wasn't that the base? Well, I got over here and I fought Calix. The point is that in Hellgate London, you get silent. Yeah, it's broken. Someone should bug report that shit, I guess, because it led me back to the dungeon. I'm not going to trust that so easily. Next time it was over here. See, I wasn't crazy, people. The quest guidance was broken there. A squad of my soldiers convey the staff of the High Priest King. The king will appoint a new High Priest. You have saved Yuri from the cult of Nefertari. Okay. These ones are our dailies. The play of the undead, blah blah blah. Okay. And we have... Alright, I only have side quests now in this zone. I don't think I have I think we finished everything here. We need to move to the next zone. Okay. I think I had it unlocked. In Hellgate London, the usage of potions is eliminated as you are silenced by mobs. Plus the cooldown. So that creates a perfectly organic level design philosophy of the usage of potions and its impact on the gameplay mechanics, because the source of the difficulty is once again enhanced organically, naturally, by that usage of potions. You get surrounded by demons and killed very fast in Hellgate London because of those mechanics, because the corridors are narrow, just like in Diablo 2, but because, as well, you can be silenced, and contrary to what happens in World of Warcraft, in Hellgate London, being silenced by a mob prevents all usage of potions, both mana and health. You can watch any of my gameplays and you will see what I mean. I died several times because of that. If on top of that we add the narrow corridors that can also cause you to be surrounded and killed by enemies, it creates a perfectly organic difficulty. Alright, so we've laid out all of the solutions. The next zone that I needed to go to was that canyon. There was a quest that led me there. Which one was it? I have to go back and turn in this quest. We can do that by the end of the stream, no worries. This one. It was this one. I wanted to do this one because it leads you to the next area. Okay, so and hopefully the quest guidance is not broken this time. So we've laid out all of the solutions, right? The first 4 talking points that I want you to mention today. Solutions for the problem that a developer, when he starts creating the game, has to address the fact that the player has to replenish health. May seem quite evident at first, but it's quite important. So solutions. Give him potions. Can he spam them endlessly? Do we force the player to be silenced by mobs to add a limitation to that? How we add the limitation, this is the core topic, how we add a limitation to that indiscriminate usage of potions. Is this the mob that we're looking for? Yeah, this is the mob, people. This is the mob. How do we limit that crazy usage of potions? Well, I've laid out the 4 solutions that I have experienced throughout all of the games that we've analyzed so far. So, what's the case of Drakensang Online? And that drew my attention precisely to this topic last time by the end of the stream, and I had no time to analyze it. In the Calix boss fight. In the case of mobs and the open world, yo, new player, hello, C4 and feet in my face. Yes, I am a variety streamer. I metaphysically analyze games, I analyze mechanics, level design, a lot of those things, and a viewer of the channel requested me to analyze precisely his favorite game, I presume District, I don't know, but his favorite game, one of his favorite games, let's say, Drakensang Online. Yes, it's my 4th day in the game, and as I said, variety streamer, but it's my 4th day analyzing the game, precisely, yes. I will analyze it, all of the main story, not the expansions, as I Don't ever play this game. This game died as my passion for this shit. Wait, no. Why you say that? Died as my passion for it because of the Chinese company. I read the whole gaming history of the company behind it is because of the Chinese company. I've been torturing myself with this crap for 12 years. Well, it happened to it. Well, I wouldn't say it was torturing. I enjoy the game. I play Star Wars: The Old Republic. I played it for 4 years, and now I've returned since 2015. I returned this year, 10 years later. So, well, not 12 years, but 4 Star Wars: The Old Republic, and this would be my 5th year. So no, what? Flying Energies plus. Well, Flying Energies, I bet you can relate to his comment then. And why? No, why torturing? If you enjoyed your time, as long as it's not affecting your duties at your job or studies or whatever. No, why? Why, if you like it, the thing is, well, I've commented this topic the other day. I stopped playing in my case, same as you with this game, Star Wars: The Old Republic. I stopped playing not because I got tired of it, but because I felt that I was missing out on a lot of other genres and games, because of playing that one so much. So I felt that there wasn't enough variety in that case. I feel so much better since I stopped playing Drakensang offline for almost 2 months from now playing Energy. Well, it's what I said. I bet that it happened to me back in 2015 with Star Wars: The Republic. C4 and in my face, this game laughing, Flying Energy Slow. This game was peak back back then, 2015, when the max level was 45. I would let you give my savings for Legacy server. The same would happen to me with Star Wars: The Old Republic. Same, exactly same case. As you're not the only one. District also mentioned it to me that it was much better. I will precisely mention it to you. In the first stream, I read the complete gaming history of the development studio behind it, and yes, a lot of people were complaining over at Steam and Metacritic that after the Chinese company bought it, Yuzu, something like that, it changed it. Thank you for being the 41st follower of the channel. I read always in every single analysis when I start a new case the final destiny, how this development studio ended, and a lot of comments said the same, and also District told it to me, that when the Chinese company bought the game, it implemented a lot of mechanics that changed it drastically. So yes, well, I also played C4 if C4 and defeat in my face. Anyways, we are the Rangers without BGH said, bro. Yes. For those of you who don't know, Flying Energies is, or well, he said last stream was, I guess, because he doesn't want to play anymore, the king of the game. So yeah, pretty much. But you all relate to this great game. You can call me Patrick. Alright, yeah, it's much easier. Yeah, when they are way too long, I got them. Alright, Patrick. No P. My real name is Christian, in my case. For those of you who know, I've told it several times on stream. But yeah, pretty much. Yes. I got an English-speaking name, even if I am originally Spanish speaker. Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Well, let's see where we can find the next main quest of the game. It has to be somewhere over here. It's the next area, after all. Sarah softly, for my fine sir, you learn nothing from me. Blundering around here beside my prisoner. So precisely as I was, yes, every player is suffering from new content. Everyone AFKing cities or playing a terrible PvP system right now. Well, Flying Energies complained about the PvP. He mentioned that it was so unbalanced that warriors would do, I think it was a spin, that would do a one-hit kill. he mentioned to me. But well, in my case, since I'm a variety streamer and I analyze the gameplay mechanics, it's absolutely how I play the games is absolutely dissociated from those things in a lot of cases, people. Because at the end of the day, what I care about is the common denominators in those gameplay elements, level design elements that connect them precisely. But yes, I was mentioning that precisely I didn't stop playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, and because I got tired of it, even if I don't like the changes that they introduced. The same happened to me with my game. In 3.0, before 3.0, you could do a hybrid skill trees like World of Warcraft originally. You could do hybrid skill trees, and after 3.0, they blocked hybrid skill trees. They followed the same system that World of Warcraft had for a sec there. Then I think it went back to normal skill trees, and because of that, I also didn't like that change. But I didn't get tired of the gameplay mechanics in that case. Star Wars: The Republic is like World of Warcraft basically. I play it on Thursdays now, but it's pretty much the that's pretty much the case with all of these online games. Uh, but I cannot say that I got tired because of the gameplay mechanics. I stopped playing because I felt not I was not giving an opportunity to a lot of other games and a lot of other genres because of how much time Star Wars: The Republic consumed. But pretty much it's the same with every single MMORPG online game like this one. And for a newbie, doing quests are good and chill, but reaching level 100 without help is impossible. And after level 100, you also need max players because you can't farm alone. Basically, you rely on max players. No, don't worry. No. I play the main story. The main story can be finished without doing that, I bet. No, I just do the main story and then I get to the final analysis of the game and give it a final qualification. That's what I do, and then move on to the next case, the next autopsy of analysis. He just played the main story and BB XD, well, flying energy is pretty much what I do. It's variety streaming like that, because otherwise I am not giving other games the opportunity to shine. If I don't do that, that's the thing. I know that for growth is the worst. It's probably the worst idea you can do. Like for a streamer, you will grow much more if you play only one game, get really good at that game, and you can, I don't know, teach other players some secret or whatever. Or for example, I could do that with Star Wars: The Republic, but for me, I like variety streaming. Yeah, exactly. For me, I like variety streaming, even if I am doing it alone. I don't. If you change games, you are fucked. Yeah, well, but in my case, I've been doing it for 4 years. I'd rather stream variety alone than never been completely alone. Fortunately, in my case, there was always one person right since the beginning. Either the developers of, as I've said, of Dungeons and Dragons, Dragon Shard, and even Cafés of the Mage were my first viewers. When players wouldn't watch me, developers would watch me. So, because of the analysis, so never completely alone. But I would rather stream variety alone than be a slave of a single game. Not because the game is not worth it, because maybe the abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics they are actually worth it, because it's so long and it has so much content that it's worth it, but because it's unfair not to give other games the opportunity to shine. You can still have some of your community to stay whatever you play if you build it before. Well, that will depend on the quality of the people, if they have patience, if they, for example, in my case, my audience is older, and as I've said, they generally don't have that problem in that sense. But imagine if your audience flying energies is the 15-year-olds watching, I don't know, Fortnite or Minecraft. The second you change that, it's impossible. It's impossible because the attention span is generally much shorter. In my case, since I played right from the beginning, hidden gems, let's say obscure hidden gems, in that case, they already know. The few people that are over at Discord and over at YouTube and you guys over at Twitch, you know what that it's not a matter of one game. Auto mode, I did. Ah, wait, hang on a second. It held your message. Hang on. Where's this thing? What's this shit? An auto mode. Yeah, held message for using private block terms, expiring and not posting in chat. Well, what is this shit? Now they limit chat messages because of bots. What's this shit? I had deactivated this shit. I did like that, so I have some loyal hidden the word followers. The word followers. Yeah, I have that one blocked because of the bots. Nice bot. No, it's because of the bots, because they use follows or followers has to be. Yeah, that one I needed for the bots. Yeah, but your message was I did like that, so you built a community like that with Drakensang Online and more older audience, as I've said. So I have loyal followers like that. Nice bot, Kappa. Yeah, no, I have to block that word because of the bots. Followers. I have to block it because the message was always buy some followers over at shit.com. Like that. So I blocked that one. I did block that one. I did block that one. So, and since I did that, I have almost not a single bot. Only one in the last 6 months. If you block the specific words, what's your opinion so far on Drakensang Online? Patrick, on from Drakensang Online only stayed around 10. All other left, so for me it's good. Fuck the other, no, flying energy, no, don't insult them. They have the right to do so. No, don't insult them. No. What's your opinion so far? Okay, Patrick. I've analyzed some aspects of the game. I started with the genre classification. I started with the whole history of the studio. I played the first one before this game. It's already uploaded over at YouTube. Drakensang 1. Drakensang 1. It's a tabletop game derived from the original Drakensang from Dungeons and Dragons. It's the German version of Dungeons and Dragons, Drakensang 1. It's a tabletop game developed by Radon Labs. Radon Labs was developed Drakensang 2, also a tabletop game. They are like Baldur's Gate. They are real-time with Pulse Infinity Engine games. Quite different. I played that one. Then Radon Labs is absorbed by the company that developed Drakensang Online, that I read about it in the first stream. But they didn't get the license of the tabletop game. And that is a key element that a lot of people, a lot of reviewers don't pay attention to, but because they don't care about the whole past of the studio when they get to it. They didn't get the license for the tabletop game. So they didn't even use the original universe, because the original name of the game world of Drakensang, of the tabletop game, is Aventuria, not Duria. They changed it a bit. Okay. I'm asking about this shit. Yeah, I know. But I cover the whole gaming history. In the second stream, precisely, I talked about the physics. So far, I would assimilate the same to Titan Quest, if you played that one, for example. Why? Because it uses the physics of the early 2000s, mid-2000s isometric action RPG games, namely Titan Quest, in a period of transition between 2D, the king that was Diablo 2, to 3D, which was quite convoluted, I mentioned in the second stream. So, considering the period of transition was quite convoluted, the first conclusion I've done so far, I've only played for 4 days, then I get to the final analysis, after finishing the main story and everything, is that the physics system, considering the release date of 2008, had only been seen in Titan Quest in 2006. Because nowadays we take it for granted, right? Nowadays we take it for granted. 3D isometric action RPG game has to be smooth, flashy, and fast. But back in the late, mid, and early 2000s, isometric action RPG games couldn't solve the pathfinding system properly. Believe it or not, the point-and-click system, pointing and clicking, was quite cumbersome. If we get to more obscure examples that we need to do so, I did so in the second stream, then you will see that the physics of this game are an accomplishment for this period of time. A bit more for Titan Quest because it was 2 years earlier, but still an accomplishment. I will cite examples. Think about Place, or if you had never heard of this weird game, Google it, Loki, an isometric action RPG, a Diablo clone. Namely, I don't use the word Diablo clone, but it's an isometric action RPG. Loki, The Hand of God, for example, Space Siege, which is the successor, the original successor that was going to be of Dungeon Siege. If you Google those 3 that are examples of isometric action RPG games that were trying to make the transition to 3D, you will see how flawed they were. Let's compare it to this one. This one has pretty good physics for that period of time. Inheriting the spirit of South Korean MMORPGs as well. Quite an interesting story. This game is an example of trying to unite the development philosophy of South Korean MMORPGs because of how grindy it is and the MMORPG component. Like, for example, Lineage 2 would be a great example of a game that it inherits elements from. Trying to unite those mechanics with the mindset of the Western world, of the player of the Western world, namely the Europe and the United States. Basically, it's a clear example of that. So, in order to achieve that, they needed the good physics of, in this case, Titan Quest, because it belongs to the isometric action RPG genre. In the genre classification, I gave 5 reasons as to why I classify it as an isometric action RPG rather than an MMORPG, because of the predominance in the proportion of the gameplay elements. So, isometric action RPG, so I established a comparison with other isometric action RPG games, namely, as I was mentioning, Titan Quest, because it also fixed the physics. Second thing that I can tell you why I think so far it's a quite good game. Those physics create an organically efficient source of difficulty. I mentioned that also in the second stream by the end of it. Why? Because the game's difficulty derives from being surrounded and killed by enemies. Influence of the level design on the gameplay mechanics, quite important. The developer of Haven Cast Rise of the Mage, precisely in the final analysis, he thanked me for it because he was the level designer, exactly. So he said, well, he didn't say it, but one could tell. Finally, someone remembered the level design that I did with so much love, precisely. So yes, it has a quite good influence of the level design on the gameplay mechanics, if you ask me. Why? Because the corridors are narrow, they are quite narrow, and thanks to that, I know we take all of these things for granted, but they are the elements that make developing a game difficult for the original creators, and that's why I either praise or criticize those aspects. In that sense, the corridors are narrow, which cause the player to be surrounded and killed quite easily. The level design properly complements the gameplay mechanics. And in terms of the topic of analysis that I was covering today, as I've said, only the 4th day, I fought Callus last time. By the end of the previous stream, I couldn't analyze this aspect. Any standing out unique things so far? Or Diablo copy? No, a lot of unique things. Precisely the topic of today. I was mentioning that in Diablo 2, in that case, Kappa, no, it has a lot of unique aspects. I bet if you played for 12 years, you must have seen instinctively at least, some elements, without a doubt, that made it special. That made it special for you if you played it for 12 years. I reverse engineer those impressions that players have, and trying to logically explain them precisely to the best effort of my capabilities. And one thing that I mentioned to District precisely that was that he loved the game so much because it has an efficient physics system like Titan Quest. First point that I highlighted to him and to you as well as good. Standing points so far, the usage of potions and the gameplay mechanics, the topic that I am analyzing today. Why? Last time I couldn't analyze it precisely. The Callus boss fight. Only good memories hold me in this terrible game, bro. Now don't say it like that. I could say the same about Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I have amazing memories of my guild, of them helping me, of me teaching them how to PvP, a lot of things, and no. I appreciate the gameplay mechanics themselves in that sense. That's what could still make me play Star Wars: The Old Republic, even if I played so much. In that sense, think about the gameplay mechanics. Think how some elements are unique, as I've said. There has to be something that made you, Flying Energies, District, Phantom, all of you love this game so much objectively, not just subjective memories. Trust me. There's always an objective gameplay element, some abstract complexity that captures the fascination of your brain and produces that dopamine. As I've said, I also analyze the psychological aspects in that sense. So yeah, no, it's in that sense. For example, in the Callus boss fight that I did last time, I can tell you that as someone who only played the game for 4 days, okay, but I can tell you that the fact that the difficulty of the boss fight was high, well, at least if you don't buy a lot of potions, I guess you could force your way, but let's pretend for now you cannot do that because you still wouldn't have enough money, I guess. Without the potions, that boss fight with the red orbs was quite challenging. The fact that the source of healing was dropped at specific points of the battlefield and with a cooldown, provided an element of difficulty, and that's quite addictive. As I always say, the difficulty should always be 99%, very pretty difficult, quite as difficult as it can be, the game, but being possible. I don't know how, but I played lots of MMORPGs and Drakensang Online. Every map feels more open for me, and not dungeon-ish, if it makes sense. Or am I brain dead? No. It's well, the dungeons open, the map feels open world. Well, compared to World of Warcraft, and the maps are quite narrow compared to other isometric action RPGs. Could be compared to things like World of Warcraft or Star Wars: The Old Republic. I cannot think how the maps would be kind of like more open world. For example, Sacred 2. If you play Sacred 2, I have a great game, if you haven't played it, that will remind you of this one, and I bet it will give you back passion for isometric action RPG games, in case this game drained it from, yeah. Sacred 2. Compared to Lost Ark, for example, no, yeah, Lost Ark, I haven't played it, but I've seen the shots, and yes. But that one has well, it's the same. It has the same MMORPG components, but yeah. In that case, I haven't played it, but according to the boss fights that I've seen and how it plays, yes. I don't play the new games that much. I play older games. I think that we picked with older games. In that sense, the abstract complexity of the game's mechanics. Lost Ark, best top-down combat ever made so far in boss fights, says Flying Energy. Oh, so now you're all Lost Ark fans. I see that it's hitting hard. Yeah, I saw it. And what I played Path of Exile as the most modern one. I had 800 hours in Lost Ark. Damn it. No, I played Path of Exile in that sense. Lost Ark, it's a different case. It goes more. It mimics a lot of the group mechanics of World of Warcraft, and it exaggerates them even more. In that sense, it's more group oriented, if I'm not wrong. It's like an MMORPG. The proportion, what I was mentioned, the proportion of the MMORPG and isometric action RPG in that game is it leans a bit more towards MMORPG. Now in Lost Ark you can play 80% of the content solo. It wasn't like that at launch, at least, when it was only available in South Korea. I didn't like. I think it was first South Korea, then they extended it to the rest of the world. I didn't like it, says Patrick. Lost Ark. Too much effects. My eyes is for Europe graphic, not Korean graphic. Uh, yeah, well, you can Star Wars: The Republic is like that. You can turn down the graphical effects for that. You can turn down the graphical effects for that. I think. I think you can turn down the graphical effects for that. The graphics, and it removes the particle effects. The particle effects are the worst. No, in that sense, I played Path of Exile, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. That's why I recommended to another viewer last Tuesday to mod Diablo 2 and play either Path of Diablo, which is a copy of Path of Exile, just with Diablo 2 skin, which is something that a lot of people love. The Diablo skins and the lore, um, or Median Excel, which is the one that I play. Titan Quest 2 when? Could be, maybe good. It's about to be released. Someone over at my Discord posted that it was going to. I want to try Lineage 2. I don't know if you tried it yet. I have an offline reverse engineered server. I play on my own. I also have those things. I don't stream them, but I have those. Lineage 2. You can have your own offline reverse engineered server. I generally do that because, as I've said, I care about the gameplay mechanics. I cannot help but my enjoyment from the games is analyzing and comparing them to others. Generally, so I do that. Lineage 2. yes, Lineage 2 is like the MMORPG, more like World of Warcraft. I played it a bit. That one is more MMORPG, more slower, and yes, I recommend you Median Excel and Sacred 2 in that sense. Diablo 2, the Median Excel mode, and Sacred 2. Sacred 2, if you like more the MMORPG mechanics of Lineage 2, especially Sacred 2. Is the previous game that I analyzed. You have the final analysis here and the whole gameplay. I cannot begin to describe what Sacred 2 is. I cannot begin to describe it. It's like a Skyrim, but with World of Warcraft. It's like World of Warcraft. The missions like this, like the so-called fetch quests in World of Warcraft. It's I think it's the greatest piece of gaming, of German gaming software engineering. Sacred 2 so far, like absolutely amazing. I highly recommend it to you, especially if you like the slower tap targeting combat of MMORPGs, for example, or especially Lineage 2. Going back to Titan Quest 2, I have to do a run of Titan Quest 1 Flying Energies. I finished it on the normal difficulty. I need to and 100%. I did all of the side quests with all of the expansions with the anniversary edition. Took me months. I wanna try Titan Quest. They already announced it. They already announced it. I have to finish. I have to finish it real quick on stream on the second difficulty to get access to the Embers expansion, which is only available in the third difficulty. If I could find a game like the level 45 DSO, man, I think Sacred 2 will scratch that. The combat will be a bit slower. I can recommend you a lot. Okay. You prefer more top-down cam or 3D, says Flying Energies? I'll reply both of them. First, Patrick, just in case. You have the... I cannot think of one that is exactly like this one. I would say Titan Quest because of the physics. But in my link down below, you have the integral history of PC game genres. There I covered pretty much every single obscure option that you could think about. All isometric action RPG games. Getting to the isometric action RPG section, which is the second one, and there you will have pretty much all of the isometric action RPG games, and I can guarantee you one of them you are gonna like it. Another one that I wanted to play that will be quite similar. The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing, Warhammer Inquisitor Martyr, that one by the same developers of Van Helsing will feel quite similar to this physics. If you want something more modern than Titan Quest, The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing, Path of Exile, of course, if you haven't played it yet, and Warhammer Inquisitor Martyr. See those, watch the gameplay, maybe. Then otherwise, you have to pretty much, as I've said, grab the integral history of PC game genres that I did because I covered every single one, and choose the ones that you watch gameplay and you see if you like them. It's the only way you will find something like this. Getting to you, Flying Energies. You prefer more top-down camera or 3D? I like them both. Well, if I have to choose one, only one, if I have to choose, I choose a Star Wars The Old Republic 3D. I choose a Star Wars The Old Republic 3D. In that sense, if I have to choose. But just because of Star Wars The Old Republic and World of Warcraft that I think are an achievement of the genre, an achievement of the gaming industry as a whole, that because of several factors that I can mention, that I mentioned in when I started analyzing Star Wars The Old Republic again some weeks ago, the abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics, how the skill tree is designed, and how the camera provides in 3D a feeling of grandeur. Is difficult to explain, but I can do so. The camera in 3D provides a feeling of grandeur, of real life astonishment, let's say, in comparison to the size, specifically this element, the size of your character compared to the environment. Flying Energies, for example, you can watch any raid of the Lich King, for example, the famous raid of the Lich King in World of Warcraft, and I think the fact that the size of the buildings is the same in Star Wars The Old Republic, with the equivalent of the Lich King in Star Wars The Old Republic, it's the Dreadmasters, let's say, the armor that you see in my channel and everything. Let's say they are like the Lich King. The relation, I know it sounds quite stupid, maybe, a silly fact, but the size of your character being so small in comparison to the buildings surrounding the initial focal point of the camera angle provides a feeling. It it enhances the feeling of grandeur, of astonishment, of a psychological impact of the ambience on the player's mind, in the player's pretty much. How it psychologically affects the player, the fact that all of the buildings are massive, like in real life, compared to the size of the initial focal point of the camera angle of the player. It is true that then you can zoom out also in World of Warcraft, but even so, the difference between the size of the buildings and your character being so small in comparison creates a positive psychological effect. That would be my take on it. It's quite specific, but I would say it's objective enough as to give you at least a logical reason. Like, I just don't know if you maybe think it's a stupid or whatever, but I can provide you that objective logical reason. With an isometric camera like this, the proportion of that size of the buildings cannot be appreciated. For starters, that would be my comment. Regardless of it, I have played a lot of isometric action RPG games, and I am used to this camera, and I love it. That goes without a doubt. I love the isometric camera. But if I have to choose only one, it's the one of World of Warcraft and Star Wars: The Old Republic, because it provides that feeling that I've mentioned. It has a higher efficiency at creating that psychological impact that I'm mentioning, of impressing the player by causing that feeling of grandeur because of the size of the buildings. And the mobs as well. If you think about a classic mechanic regarding the camera angle and those things, the Lich King in the raid boss fight, as I've said, you can watch over at YouTube any raid of a Lich King by any WoW guild or whatever, or the same in my case with Star Wars: The Old Republic, you Google the Dread Palace operation, Google Sutor Dread Palace operation, for example, or I don't know, the easiest one, Eternity Bolt with Soa, the Infernal one. They are all raids in which in MMORPGs they also make the mobs, the raid bosses, extremely big, so all of the raid players can see it despite of the effects. And it's not only that, it causes that feeling of taking down a massive target that the isometric camera just simply cannot convey with that degree of efficiency, I would say. But regardless of that, I love Titan Quest, I love Diablo, I love all of those, and in fact most of the games that I play on stream are with the isometric camera. But if I had to pick one, because I know that people will always reply to questions like that, I like them both. I always reply this. People generally just say that, and well, it's perfect that you like them both. There has always need to be one that objectively, even by 1%, has an element that makes you like it more, even by 1%, in that sense. So yeah, as a scholastic philosopher, I have to choose one. Even if I do like them both, but in proportion, of course, I like more the 3D camera. Going back to the games, in case my previous, which was it? In case all of the options that I mentioned previously aren't enough, I can also say, which one was it? Yeah, sure that. I can also say, as I think Warhammer Inquisitor Martyr, you will love it, Patrick, in that sense. I think Warhammer Inquisitor Martyr and The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing, you will love them. Otherwise, there are others. Torchlight 2 with the Synergies mod. I don't see how you wouldn't play that for hundreds of hours. If you like more slow combat, as I've said, Sacred 2. Sacred 2 is it's like an MMORPG. It's like World of Warcraft with an isometric camera precisely, and semi isometric, and you love Sacred 2, Torchlight 2 with the Synergies mob, Titan Quest, as I've said, The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing. That one I'm going to play it on stream. The Warhammer Inquisitor Martyr, I think it's one of the best options I can give you. But there are more. Shadows Awakening. Shadows Awakening. I played that one some years ago. I bet you would love that one. Shadows Awakening. You can. That one you can. It's quite similar to this one. It's also. I think it was. I don't remember if it was German or no. It was another one. It was. I think it was Lithuanian, something like that. Quite similar. I also remember the physics. Shadows Awakening. Awakening. I don't see how you wouldn't like that one. Shadows Awakening. Or Awakening, depending if it's British or American, the pronunciation. All of those that I'm mentioning to you, Patrick, you would love them. Don't know if you've heard of any of them, or I'm just mentioning weird old stuff. They are not online, but except for Inquisitor Martyr. That one has offline and offline. But they will provide you the exact same gameplay mechanics without the let's say shitty MMORPG Chinese added elements after level 45 that you are mentioning. I guess that they force you to farm and those things with a group or whatever. The ones that I have mentioned to you are the best examples. They will last you for hundreds of hours. I also do game recommendations, and I can say, getting out of the isometric action RPG genre of this isometric camera, Hellgate London, without a doubt. London 2038, the community manager of that game, for example, is in my Discord. Sayona, always a great thanks to him, because he guided me through his through their modded version. It's a whole team, and Hellgate London 2038, you'll be able to play it online, for example, and they will have the same mechanics. Another thing that I could say, well, reverse engineered servers then of MMORPGs, like I do World of Warcraft. If you like RuneScape, I have a clone that I recommended the other day. The Black Curse, the Black Curse, something like that. Grimoire Curse Break or something like that. It's a clone of RuneScape, in case you like RuneScape, for example. There are options, but it's just that they are way too obscure. That's why I do game recommendations to anyone who asks us as well, in that sense. Because long story, Drakensang Online has a very strong community. We try to help the devs. We are very desperate for this game because it's a childhood game for millions. Yeah, I can get that feeling without a doubt. And I can tell you this, according to the population that I've seen, it has better numbers than a lot of modern games. So I can attest for it. For example, in the case of Star Wars: The Old Republic, without the Star Wars license, it wouldn't be what it is. Wouldn't be alive. I get it, but just since you asked for game recommendations, in that sense, just because you asked for a similar game, if I could find a similar game to DSO level 45, I meant like that, like a bit more old school in the department of how you measure the levels, of not having 200 levels or whatever. The ones that I have mentioned to you, offline at least, will feel quite similar to that older version in that sense. And well, you can play both. You can play Drakensang Online as your online option, and then the other ones for single player when maybe the Chinese company rolls a bad update that you don't like the PvP, for example, something like that, and you have both options. I can see why this game is loved by so many. In the period of time it was released, there was a huge void of 3D isometric action RPG games, but it also has its own merits, as I've said. The physics are smooth, just like Titan Quest. The level design is properly done, as I've said, and the boss fights are quite good. I've only played 2, but they are quite good. The difficulty is properly measured, so yeah, I can see why you will love it so much. And yes, I can see, for example, a lot of people complain about in the case of Drakensang Online, complain about the Chinese company applying pay-to-win mechanics and those things. But yeah, pretty much it's the case with. Alright, I have to loot those things, I think. Silly me. It's the case with a lot of games that are sadly then acquired by Chinese companies. In that sense, if it weren't for the communities, they will. They would take even more worse decisions. So yeah, pretty much. Well, the community, as I was saying, in the case of Hellgate London, they developed the game, they revived the game from scratch, like 100% what I'm telling you, like the community manager that I mentioned to you, and a team of very few developers revived Hellgate London 100% from scratch. They grabbed a server, an old, unused server, and they revived it from scratch. Okay, Patrick, so the main problem with Drakensang Online is that it has become too easy for boosted people, those who get helped by players. You can do every boss, endgame content just by playing for 3 months. Back in the day, we were actually excited to unlock a new skill, cause, well, I can relate to that part. A new skill, because leveling up um, was hell of a hard. It was extremely hard leveling up, but rewarding. Not to mention the endless farm, but it was so much better when you got a legendary item, which wasn't completely, or was not completely crap. Well, what you are mentioning is something that I analyze in games. What you are mentioning is the relationship between the economic system of the game, drop rate, and the item system, and the gameplay mechanics in the framework of the reward slash punishment system of the game. It's another topic that I analyze, and how it psychologically impacts players. It's a quite long topic. I think one day I spent 4 hours talking about it with Sacred 2, because it has an internal clock system in the case of Sacred 2, and that causes a negative ratio of your economic income as you kill mobs. Quite interesting solution. That if you get killed, you actually lose money because of the farming rate. What you are mentioning, the same happened with Star Wars: The Old Republic and a lot of other MMORPGs, because of the development philosophy that these companies adopted, which is make the game easy to get into, up to the point the person feels comfortable to start spending money on, which is the model of free-to-play that came after the success of mobile phone games. Believe it or not, I know we all hate mobile phone games in general. I do so as well. There was a period of time in which they were quite good, but that's a topic for another day. But they generated a lot of money. They generated a lot of money, and they were quite cheap to develop. So, adopting that philosophy, that development philosophy, they said free to play, easy to get into, up to the point in which the player can start spending money. What you are mentioning, that back in the day we were actually excited to unlock a new skill and everything, the same happened to me with Star Wars: The Republic. Nowadays, you just get the abilities automatically unlocked, and back then you have to slowly grab the abilities. Why? This has to do with the psychological impact, with the attention span of the players, because of how our society has, for me personally, sadly changed. The attention span of the objective core audience of all of these games has been drastically reduced. If I had to point fingers at a culprit, I would say first of all TikTok, with the reels being 5 seconds each, one after the other, one after the other. That destroys the attention span of the brain. One after the other. I teach English, and that destroys the attention span of the brain. That's why, fortunately, here we can still prohibit mobile phones in class. Fortunately, I would straight up directly ban social media and direct it. But that destroys the attention span of the brain, believe it or not. And because of that, one of the million consequences of that is that you cannot have a game in which it may take a month to get to the end game content, like it was my case with Star Wars: The Republic. A month to get to max level with shitty gear, and like that you are describing, that you are describing. So what happens when it's the opposite situation, the one that we were used to back when we were, let's say, younger? We had a, let's say, natural attention span for a human being, a normal attention span, and that allows through the game became a TikTok video. Back then, level 45-50 era, one quick run was 20 minutes. Now, 2 minutes. Well, precisely that's why I play like this. That's precisely why I play like this. Even if I lose audience. Because a lot of people have told me, for example, over at YouTube, not a lot, some, not a million people, but a good dozen, that the gameplay is slow. And I play like this on purpose, because first is how I am used to play, and second because I am not interested in people who have such a short attention span, that are unable, and this is the key that we could do back then, to enjoy a constant state of progression instead of instant gratification. That's the problem. You expect, these players nowadays expect instant gratification the second day. Start playing a game, start watching a stream, start watching a video, start imagine I go to the gym and I want to lose 50 pounds in a single day. It's instant gratification. Instant gratification. That's what those TikTok videos cause and all of that shit. And I think Fortnite was also highly responsible, but I still think it's still a consequence of previous conditions that were already hatching in society. They were in a process of hatching from an egg, basically, in society. But it's instant gratification. So we've replaced the pleasure derived from continuous, delayed, discipline that causes a prolonged state of pleasure, because you got to that level after a lot of effort, discipline, and being constant with the game. Nowadays, that game developers, in a lot of cases, I'm not saying all modern games are shit, people, I've said this 1,000 times. It's not that all modern games are shit, but the development philosophy is created with instant gratification, psychological instant gratification in mind. That's the problem. And you cannot tie, because at the end of the day, now I read it, Patrick, right now. You cannot tie. I want to finish the concept of the psychological impact. You cannot tie an objective quality, which is an objective feature, which is the quality of the level design, in this case, the progression of that level design, because at the end of the day, the pacing of how fast the player progresses is part of the level design. You cannot tie the quality of the progression to 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 a cultural phenomenon, which is the culture of instant gratification that we get nowadays, because that way you are applying a subjective development philosophy to something that requires an objective solution, a technical objective solution, which is causing what Patrick is describing of how the game was back then. Everybody wants easy things. That's why there is 10% of the people who don't want the old era of Drakensang Online, which I understand. Because we had to farm for 2 months just to craft a good boots back then, Skullface. It was like that in Star Wars The Old Republic. It was like that. But when you crafted those boots, didn't they feel more special? Didn't they feel more special? I am sure they felt more special, because you put in the required amount of effort for them to feel special. That's the thing. It's like when you catch, well, this one will be a bit of a modern example, I guess, because Pokemon is still, they felt like $1 million, man. Well, that happened to me with my mask, which is the emblem of my channel. See if it was important for me, which is the Dread Guard mask, which is the golden mask of my channel, of my main character, which was a gift from my guild after farming a quite difficult boss, which was Dread Tooth, and they definitely felt special in that sense. As I've said, 99% of difficulty, but not impossible. When you got a good weapon, I talked about it for days in Skype and TeamSpeak. TS was TeamSpeak. I talked about it for days in Skype and TeamSpeak. Yes. That's why. Well, but that's a psychological impact that the game developers were proficient enough as to create, because they didn't care about profit as much as the objective quality of the product. That's the thing. I talked about it with Sacred 2. When you know that in Sacred 2 they could have gone for an MMORPG right from the beginning, which was what they tried to do, but then they stopped that idea because they were running out of money and time, and they said, well, let's do a good offline game, and it shows. And they put quality above profit, and that's something that you generally don't find nowadays. Sadly, of course, because of that instant gratification, because the higher ups decided it's not the fault of the devs. Some devs, yes, but generally it's not the fault of the devs. Generally, it's the investors. The investors determine those things. In a gaming company, it's not a matter of the of the developers. The developers generally just develop what the investors tell them to develop, because apparently the investors know what the players want. They always know what the players want. Yeah. Never. They have no fucking idea because they don't play video games. That's the problem. In order to be a gaming investor, you should play video games. And that's not a requirement. So that's the problem. That's the problem. To be a developer, generally you play video games, but to be an investor, no. And that's the problem. Pretty much. But I was mentioning that good weapon that you mentioned that felt like $1 million, and you talked about it a lot. Of course, happened to me in Star Wars: The Republic. Can relate to that. But the fascinating thing is the psychological is how that psychological impact in our minds was organically, naturally designed as we played the game by the developers, and they perfectly created the level design, the framework for that psychological effect to happen beyond their original creation, because the drop, maybe it has a percentage or not, um, or you have to craft the materials, and the materials have a probability or something like that, and pretty much uh, creating the framework that will give birth to those conditions is the proficiency of the developers that we don't have now. And right now, July 17th, big game hunt event coming is in Drakensang Online. Most important event, you can obtain the most broken mythic set, and I'm forced to buy the cape for money. To buy the cape for money, buy of acquiring it, because I want the set, and the cape is the only way to not rely on luck only. Yeah, it's like that. It's like that. It's like that. For example, it's an event in which you can get the most broken mythic set in. Okay, you have to buy the cape for real money, or in-game money. Probably this one that I see here, the undermant, the in-game money that you buy with real money. Yeah, like the cartel market in Star Wars for real money. Okay, yeah. It's in-game. Probably you use in-game money after paying real money. That's how it works in Star Wars: The Republic with the cartel coins for real money. Okay. Yeah, it's like that, and that's terrible. I mentioned it when they introduced also the cartel market in Star Wars: The Republic. That's terrible. Those pay-to-win mechanics, because they destroy the psychological sense of progression, because you feel like you are not uh, mastering the gameplay mechanics as a necessary condition to get the best armor. Precisely. Once again, the relationship between the reward punishment system of the game and the gameplay mechanics. It cuts the relationship between the reward punishment system and the gameplay mechanics, which is terrible. The economic reward punishment system and the gameplay mechanics. I talked about it with Sacred 2. So we buy capes for more content. Cape more VGH content. Wow. The capes determine that? You mean... Wait. Which one was it? This slot, the cloak, or is it a secret new slot that they use for endgame content? Trinkets, something like that, maybe. It's a part of equipment that I'm sure of it. So you get better capes. That's why I saw a lot of people in the city with crazy capes like that, with special effects and everything. So they use the capes for. In our case, it was worse. In Star Wars: The Republic, you know what they did? They started selling famous Sith Lords armors. In that case, but the prices you could pay with normal money. Eh? You didn't need to use cartel market money. In that sense, the economy was much healthier. In that sense, I can say that. You could pay normal in-game money still back in 2015, and even today you can pay that. They started selling, for example, the whole set of Mark Aragnos, and you would look like Mark Aragnos. I had it. I have it, but I didn't pay real money for it. For example, I remember when they released the Revan set, the set of Revan, which is the protagonist of Knights of the Republic 1 and 2, for example, and that's how they did it. Nowadays, they are much more expensive, but if you know how to create to farm money in game, you can still buy them. The problem is that it has a cap on how many on how many credits you can have in that sense. How much money total you can have in game in that sense. But all of those things, as I've said, they can destroy the psychological sense of progression on the player, and that's quite dangerous. That's quite dangerous because I bet you know a lot of people who directly left the game after those mechanics. Because when you cut the relationship between the reward punishment system of the game and the gameplay mechanics and the progression, it's you are destroying the core of what makes the game addictive and terrible. Hey, looks like we got a boss, people. Interesting. I'll be able to analyze the usage of potions. Hey, there we go. Level 25 again. Oh, it's the same as Callus. Okay, do we have red circles in this one? Oh, it's like a bear. Okay. Hey, nice. Callus was more difficult because she had kind of like several. She had more positioning. BEARACH. Ah, well. Hey, here there are no red circles. What's that? Time of Wisdom, Ancient One, stack size. Wait, what? Which server? District told me to play on Herodul. But no, don't worry. I like struggling. I like struggling with the bosses. If because I had a person also help me as soon as he saw me do the first boss. Now we got. It helps me. Struggling helps me measure the mechanics. For example, I want to see that the health is recovering on its own. So it's actually giving you a way to do so if you master the mechanics. In fact, it's better to play it like this. In that sense, if it doesn't have red orbs. But I also appreciate the help whenever someone helps me. The other day I was playing Master Mode in Star Wars: The Republic, and it got to a point, where, well, when the 4 hours of stream are being consumed on that, yes, I say stop. In that sense. They also recover health after a while, so I better deal some damage. Wait, what? There we go. They also recover the shield after a while. Ah, that was a one-hit kill. Okay, so the bees are a one-hit kill. No problem. The other thing, the character building and stats, back then you had to watch... Hang on a second. You had to watch a 45-minute interview with a ranger to know your skills and skill points in PvE and PvP. I know because I watched the videos actually. You had to learn how you want the build. More HP, maybe less damage, but more crit and crit damage. What you are describing is exactly what happened to me with my favorite MMORPG. Basically. No, not watch it. In my case, I designed it myself. In my case. But, hey, is this guy resistant to fire? No, he's neutral. He just has some immunities because of the fire. Okay, so only the bees kill you in one blow. Wait, what? That's working. Ah, maybe I'll need some potions for this, because it's not dropping red circles. Weird. It should be easy though. I should be of a higher level, I bet. Maybe we can go back, farm a bit, and solve it. Okay. So yes, you say 45-minute interview with the class or with someone who knew the class or whatever. In that sense, yes. Well, in my case, it was worse. They touched the stat. Well, you also say they touched the stat system. For example, in my case, it's not a one-hit kill. If you walk too far from his spawn, he's going to run back and regenerate health. Okay. Yeah, but I still haven't dropped the shield, huh? Though it's a nice idea for. It's a nice idea for when the shield drops, though. That one is the one that kills you in one blow. There we go. This one. Okay. Slow progress, but progress nonetheless. No, Kalish was much more brutal in that sense, huh? I think. See, that one didn't kill me, and I was almost at 0 health. Do I have a potion here? No. Well, yeah. I should start buying potions, I guess. Okay. I can dig that. You can start buying potions. Now, well, but compared to Kalish, this one, the range is much more limited. Like, look at that, I can even survive those. In that sense, the difficulty is very well measured. If you don't use potions and you play like this, the problem is that... There I see a red circle. There's one there. A red circle there. A red orb. The HP. Damn it! And I took my distance. Ah, there, I bet that there, he regenerated health. The problem is that, yeah, anyways, if the shield is not dropped first. That one. I just need to avoid that one. Perfect. There, he regenerated health. There, he's regenerating health. There, I see it. I see the phenomenon right there. Okay. Yeah, but his range is not that good. That's the key. Except for this attack. There. You have to run away from that attack. This one doesn't matter. That one is middle term. Let's say. It's a bit more. Close. That one. Now comes... Could it be that it has a sequence? A pattern? In terms of the attacks that he deals? I think it has a pattern. I think the bees that are the most dangerous are only the first and third attack he does. Uh-huh. Yeah, but you can endlessly spam potions, but what would be the fun in that, people? Not getting killed, Eraser. See, it's just that you're stupid. Not getting killed. No. Alright, there we go. Now let's see. Now the shield is broken. Let's see how fast he can regenerate health then. There we go. Oh, what? Second phase? Ah, no, he's just summoning some more mobs. That one. Yeah, it's not like Kalish, huh? Because Kalish could had a much better. Alright, there we go. Over there. Kalish had a much better range. And the duration of those thingies. Of the attack as well. Okay, so I need to remain more or less over here. Except for that one. No, but here it shouldn't regain health. There we go. If the shield is down, you can break his armor and kill him like 10 times faster. Break his armor. Interesting. I still don't have enough knowledge just to do that. Besides like this, it adds some tension. Alright, I'll Google that for next one. Break his armor. There, I can taunt. Break his armor. Interesting. So there's a concept of armor in this game. Quite interesting, and a very good abstract complexity, if you ask me. There. I saw a red orb. There we go. Now I read it. You have a skill, I don't know in English, but you can break it. We can break it with it. Okay, I'll search that for the next boss fight. Or if I cannot do it here. It has an angle as well, because last time it didn't hit me with that one. Nice. Singularity plus Frost Nova for breaking his armor so you kill faster. Singularity plus Frost Nova, okay. If I can read it during the fight. I'll do it. 1 sec. Because I don't want him to kill me. If he kills me, I'll of course do it. I cannot read like this. Should have done that before the boss fight. My bad. My bad. Should have done that before the Frost Nova. No, Frost Wind, Frost Charge. I think I don't have it. Could it be? At level 25, you get those. Okay, I'll remember those names. Maybe in the skill tree I can get them. Okay. Thanks to you both. Darn it, that attack is brutal. Besides, it also slows you down. But it's pretty much the only attack that is dangerous. Okay. I know, but he regenerates health. Careful. I remember that Callus regenerated health when I was dead. Hang on a sec. I cannot spend time because I remember Callus regenerated health. I know that then I can kill him in 2 seconds, but doesn't matter. Wait, what? What was that? Player, you're getting killed. You suck. You need to. With 53, you can dodge his attack if he's close. Yeah, I will. Like that. Yeah, but it's a bit cumbersome with the movement. Then I promise I will improve, people. I promise I will improve for the game. I think I also have shit gear, by the way. But well, doesn't matter. Damn it. Stupid. Like this one is more precise in when it avoids. It's a bit more precise when it avoids the teleport. I know I could use both, but yeah. It's almost there. It's almost there. It's almost there. It's almost there. The other one, the other teleport is more precise. There we go. Sorry it took me so much time, people. Now I will. Easy one shot fire. Press S. Sorry, I didn't watch it. So, Singularity plus Frost Nova for breaking his armor so you kill faster. Okay, let's see if I have the abilities here. No, it has to be in the skill tree. In the skill tree. Has to be. Press S. Yeah, the skill tree. Has to be the skill tree. So, Singularity plus Frost Nova. Here is Singularity. So, this one... Okay. Should be added here, or what? Ah, no, you have to add it because you are limited by the hat bars. Let me replace that one. And you mentioned... Frost Nova. Frost Nova, level 31, sadly. Okay, perfect. That makes me feel even better, Flame Energies, because that means that I couldn't have broken his armor at all. So it was a legit kill. No. And max out your fireball. Yeah, right. Yeah. Or maybe I was thinking about. Hang on a second. Am I crazy? I maxed out that fireball. You have 25 points and the singularity. Okay, I maxed out that fireball last time. I have it on. I have it recorded on stream. I'm not crazy. You change your tab on the right corner. Actually, that explains it. Okay, yeah, because I was seeing this. The second, change to first. Yes, okay. Yeah, okay. The presets. It has presets. Okay, yeah, this one. Ah, I did have it. I did have it. Hey, look at that. I had picked the correct ones. 10 there, and now 1 here. And you are telling me the Frost Nova, it has to be this one at 31. Okay, so this one will be the next one. Perfect. Ah, so here I have 25. Ah, this is in case you fuck up. You fuck up as a newbie, and you can do another one. Max singularity also. Okay. This is like in Diablo 3, the arcane ball probably that. Okay, so this one breaks the armor. So I'll leave this one in this tab over here and teleport 1 point for movement speed when you teleport. You can try it out. 1 at least. There we go. Unlock with level 1, it increases the movement speed. Perfect. Thanks to you both. Thanks to you both. Thank Energies and Patrick. Thank you. Okay, so there's a concept of armor in this game. So mobs also have armor, and it can be broken. Let me see. We need to read the description. Armor value will offer from a slow debuff, and then the other one, the one that you are mentioning, it needs to say that it breaks the armor. Size damage. I want to read it that it destroys the armor. Not because I don't trust you, because I want to see if it's described in the game, to see if it has a proper description. Reduce the damage, reduce dice resistance, frozen. Could it be that it doesn't say the armor? That it breaks armor, the concept of armor. Maybe it's a singularity. I bet it. I know it does. I know it does. I know it does. But I can see if the developers took the time to. Maybe if you level it up. Okay. Maybe if you level it up, it's in the description. So far, I haven't seen it. Okay. Devs are ass XD. Well, yeah. Well, I can say that that's a mistake. I had no way. Devs are monkeys. Both of them at the same time insulting the devs. Go damn it. Go damn it. In Star Wars: The Republic is the same. A lot of the effects are not described. Terrible mistake this, because how is the new player going to realize he could deduce? Lol. Yeah, but God damn it! I see that in this game the player base does love his. You guys do love these devs. God damn it! And by love it I mean insulting them like 5 minutes. Devs are surviving by the cape money we spend. So now they shall suffer the wrath of the heavens, of the curse of the Drakensang online community. Click W so you add your horses in collection so it's not more in your inventory. Great advice. New arrivals, costume pet, mounts, plus. Dragons, wild beasts, vehicles. Can I edit straight from there? No. Okay. Ancient Treasure Spring Festival, tamed foes? No. And wings, I drop it. Well, how would a horse classify? There, horses. There. I'm an idiot. Horses, there, right there. Click to permanently add the item. Hey, there we go. Horse first takes the I don't fly energies. It's a new interface for me. Okay, so here we have a bestiary of all of the mounts. Okay. And see, and what? I can add it from here. No, it's the same. Yeah, look at that. Could it be that it's no longer bagged? Yes, it's no longer bagged. Bagged. Click the star to be favorite. Ah, so it wasn't favorite. Okay, perfect. Perfect. There it is, favorite. Obtainable from chests in Drakensang. Yeah, pretty much. So it's on the front page. Always when you click W. Perfect. 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 Huge thanks. Huge thanks, Light Energy. Wait, it also fixes the bug because previously when I clicked, it wouldn't do it the first time. It would fail the cast. You can watch it some minutes ago and in the previous stream. When it's not there in collections, you first click and it breaks the casting and then it works. Yeah, god damn it, god damn it, god damn it. Well, god damn it, god damn it, god damn it. I hope I don't get banned over at YouTube because of this character being naked. Okay. Present offerings. We gods created mankind to defeat the dragon to insult the developers of the game. Pretty much. No, 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 no. No, no, no. You can only get banned by playing Drakensang online. Come on, no. No, you know that some people have had that because there's a semi-naked character on some game, then over at YouTube, not over at Twitch, but over at YouTube, you can get banned, Flight Energies. You can get banned, for example, with which one was it? The Player Unknown Battlegrounds. Well, let's say there was a skin which had a very tight underwear, and well, and well, and well, it happened. Also in Rust, there are naked characters, and you can't get banned. Well, that's it nowadays, but back when they were released, it was a thing. It didn't happen to me, of course, because I played offline games, but yeah, pretty much. But yeah, nowadays it's a bit more assumed. You can get banned for streaming offline World of Warcraft, though, and offline Lineage too, so I cannot show my reverse engineered servers. So, yep, pretty much. that's way too brutal for humanity, knowing that since a lot of time you can have a reverse engineered version of World of Warcraft. It's way too much for humanity. Humanity cannot endure it. Humanity cannot endure it. That's way too much. Also, well, with Nintendo, it's also brutal. It's also brutal. I love Nintendo consoles. I never show you this, but here, for example, I still have my. I showed you the. I never showed this one on stream. For example, look what I got the other day. Look what I got. It's the official pouch. It's the official Nintendo pouch from the 90s in perfect condition. You see, I bought it the other day. I always wanted one. It's the official pouch from the 90s. I got it the other day, but as I was mentioning, I generally don't stream Nintendo content because you can get banned easily. Nice, and not only that, inside of it, I revived my old Game Boy Advance with I got an Easy Flash Omega for $70 only. They go for 200. So imagine, I got an Easy Flash Omega there, and I also added rechargeable battery. You have kids, and if not, can I be one? No, 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 no. I don't. It's just that. It's just that. No, no, no. Only 29, and sadly would love to, and will. I want to have children like 100%. Even with the crazy feminist stuff going around. Uh, but yeah, one way or another. Otherwise, I'm going to a laboratory. But yeah, I will have to. That's for sure. You younger than me. 1995 flying energies, and you can be one. No, the thing is that while I work as software developer and English teacher, I let's say come from a I come from a higher class family, let's say. Me 94. Oh, 1 year older than me, flying energies. Who are you? Sexy bearded man, 2008 boy, Patrick. Who are you? Yeah, I can agree. 1994, so 1 year older than me, flying energies. Only one. 30 instead of 29 or 31 already. Oh no, we're from the same, the exact same. Well, almost exact same in that sense. 31 in 2 months. No, I am 29 until October, fortunately. In that sense, got some extra months. It's almost 2 years then. It's almost 2 years. It's a year and a half. In that sense. Okay. No. Reply to you. Sadly, no. Yeah. Want to have kids? Will have kids. One way or another. But yeah, with the crazy feminist stuff, it's quite tough nowadays. But even so, fortunately, nowadays we have a laboratory. How is it feel to be uncle boys? I'm not even an adult. Why uncle boys? No, I'm not old. That doesn't. Maturity is more related to, if you ask me, I don't know, Fly Energy is what he thinks. I still feel like 2 years old. I think maturity is derived from your mind rather than the biological process associated with your cells dividing, which is aging. So it has to be with that. It has to do with that. For example, I was always quite introvert. Well, in my case, it was even worse. In my case, I'm only child. I'm an only child, and yes, as I said, being born in a wealthy family, only child. The thing is that I spend most of my time with my grandpas. I also grew up with my grandpas, so I had the undivided attention of four adults always all the time on me. So in my case, I was not going to. I was going to be, without a doubt, the introverted and mature right from the get-go. Right from the get-go, right from the beginning. So yeah, contrary to Fly, I guess, which he says he still feels still 2 years old. I have always felt 90 years old right from the beginning. As a kid, I would spend my days reading books. Harry Potter, for example, I read all of the books when I was 7, 10, and many more. Then by 15, 16, and when I go to law school, philosophy. That's why all of the crazy stuff of the channel. So yeah, basically, I think maturity has to do with how your brain can interpret the experiences that you live on the outside of your mind.